Absolutely, email. Go to our webpage.
Yeah, we liked it.
Go to our webpage, you can see where we're showing around the country. We do about 4 or 5 cities a month. We just left Dallas, Detroit, Buffalo, Syracuse. I think we next go to Atlanta, Dayton, LA, Portland. And we're going to do one-nighters like this just to kind of relate to the community and find out what's going on and figure out how to set up a movie circuit. Really, I'm trying to establish. I want to have it, in the end of these 2 movies, I did it with Asunder and this one, I'll probably have about 40 screens that I can have access to across the country, so that I can show my movies and other movies from other filmmakers and then take them straight to video on our own video label. That's the whole plan. That's why I'm doing it the hard way. And we have turned down a few offers for the movie to take it out mainstream, but I mean, the most they're going to do is 200-300 theaters and hope that it works. And if it doesn't, it'll be dished and they will control all the video rights. So I decided to gamble and use it to set up a video line. So that's why I'm holding it back. Any questions? Yes, sir.
I gave you a film earlier, Billy Laundry. I have a question in that sense of distribution. I mean, I made a film and I got some really bad offers, so I started distribution on my own. And there's a lot of things I just don't know. And I might want to probably, that's when people have information that I'm looking for. Is there a way possibly you can relate some kind of that information to me as far as distributing your own film from your own location without any major players involved? How do you get through?
Well, it's distribution is the essence of all business. I wouldn't care if you're selling yo-yos. If you can't distribute it, you're in deep trouble. You can't get to your customers. And it's that way in the motion picture business or television business. If you don't have access to the distribution channel, you're dead in the water. Well, that's the holy grail of show business. And these companies do not open up the holy grail because they make an awful lot of money doing it. They make more money. You take a movie like Kings of Comedy that did something like $40 million in the theater, and it did probably another 10, 12 million in home video. The guys themselves, the Kings, they didn't get a king's ransom, because they didn't own the title. You have to own the title to control your distribution. When you make your deals, you hope for the best, but normally you're going to get screwed. It's just the nature of the business. It ain't racial, it's bad business. And I have been a victim of that. We did a movie called Nothing to Lose. I don't know if you've seen that movie. My partner, my producing partner, Martin Jones, begged me to do a street movie. You want to do a hip hop movie? I said, man, I'm not interested, but you got the studio. I'm going home for Christmas. And I gave him the studio and everything we had there, cameras and trucks and access to some of my clients and friends. And they all came to work for him. He made the movie for $110,000. The movie was the #1 selling straight-to-video movie for the 4th quarter a year ago. It has since made over $1.8 million. He hasn't seen a penny. And they have, and when you go to them, you got to get a lawyer, and, we're going through all that stuff. But I don't know what to tell you. It's just the hardest, most difficult part of show business. Now, I'm trying it, you're trying it. But what you have to look out for, even if you're successful, you can get hurt. Actors have to be paid. Residuals have to be paid. Taxes have to be paid. If you don't have an accounting background or someone that you trust looking after your paperwork, because it is going to give you the money. They're not going to be paying those residuals. They're not paying the taxes. They're going to give you a lump sum. So you walk away and say, oh man, I got $40,000. I got $400,000. It made $1 million. Well, you got to go and take care of business. And if you don't, you're going to get in deep trouble. So distribution is very difficult, but I think the way to do it, what I'm hoping to do is a co-op. Just set up, I'll pay the pains and take the chances to try to get a direct line to all of the major outlets. And then maybe a group of us would come together between the group, the monies that we would give up or spend to promote, because you still got to promote it. They're not going to promote it for you. They're just going to put it in the stores. You still got to spend money. So that money would come into a pool, like the old co-ops in the farm days. All the like a flea market, you know, everybody come together. So what I'm trying to establish is, and eventually it's going to be a distribution system that you or anybody can come to, get a square deal with it, and we'll have infrastructure in place to deal with the accounting, the residuals. This was a Screen Actors Guild movie, although it was under 500,000, it still was a Screen Actors Guild movie. So I've got to pay residuals. You know, I got to honor that because I'm a Screen Actors Guild member for one, and I need to get, you know, do it to anybody else. I don't want it done to me. So I've got to have accounting for that. So all those things you got to look at, and there are ways it's changing. There are a lot of young folks who don't know that you can't do certain things, and they're just blindly going into it. Most of them are getting taken. These video deals that you're getting, you won't see any back end. I hate to break the news to you, but you're not going to see any back end.
That's why I turned it down. That's why I said, what they offered me, I said I can do like Master P and sign on the trunk of my car and make more. And
Yeah.
I can make that much and keep the rights.
Well, see, Master P, you hear these stories, you know, and the credit cards and crock. It's a crock. Guys made a movie for 50,000, like Blair Witch. You know, it's a crock. They don't tell you that this production company put another $2.5 million in getting the negative ready for release. They don't tell you what it costs to print to get in 1,000 theaters. You're talking $1,500 a print. They don't tell you the promotional piece that went into it. All those movies, Hollywood Shuffle, cost a lot more than they tell you. I mean, it's good to go on Carson Show or whatever and say, yeah, I made it with a credit card. But the truth of the matter is, even that movie was made by the Hispanic gentleman for $6,000. They went on to make something. Yeah, they don't tell you they put $1.5 million just to do the audio soundtrack. You know, they don't tell you that. So don't get caught up in the hype, man. Learn your business. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. I wanted to tell you how great the film was.
Thank you.
The directing, the editing, and the music, blah, blah, blah.
Who called me a dog, by the way? And why was y'all laughing at the sex scene? What's funny about that? You always laugh when I'm up there mugging with the girl. They'll be laughing. My wife's gonna be laughing. I'm sorry. I was at one screen, a young kid yelled out, "Don't forget R. Kelly." I'm sorry. What was it?
I wanted to know if you give any support or funding to other emerging
I'm sorry.
filmmakers like myself.
Funding, I give no money. I ask for money. If you ain't got $1, don't come see me. No, this is, you happen to, you know, everybody wants to be in show business. Everybody wants to make movies. It is one of the most difficult occupations you could ever attempt to do. You know, it's like a poet deciding he wants to be a poet and he wants to earn a living. The two don't work together. If you're going to be a poet, you're going to starve because there's no money in poetry. Well, in the film business, it's expensive. It is a very expensive business. Your grandmother, your dentist, somebody going to have to give you money because you can't do it any other way. I can only do, I'm a small company. I don't know if my doors will be open this time next year. I'll be making a movie somewhere, whether or not the doors are there, but it's expensive. It costs millions and millions. We put $5 to $6 million in the ground just to build a place. You know, so it is not, you guys who want to do it got to have the passion. You got to stick and stay. I mean, it took me many years to direct a movie, let alone produce one. And the average person takes me, I direct probably every 2 years. I get an opportunity to direct another movie. The average is 3 years. For female directors, it's almost 4 years. I don't care who you are. I gave Debbie Allen her first directing, actually her only directing opportunity in film with LL Cool J's movie, Out of Sync. First time a black woman has ever directed an action movie. Till this day, it's the first time a black woman has ever directed an action movie. Go figure.
If I wanted to submit a headshot and resume, how do I do that?
We take those because we always need looking for actors and actresses.
If I don't have it today, where do I
Go to the webpage, NM, as in Nancy Mary, nmstudios.com. And you can find out information about, we sell books, we sell music. There's my daughter, she played the mean girl in the picture. Tight casting. I need someone with an attitude. Who do I know? Yes, ma'am.
Why Richmond? I mean, sorry, why Petersburg for your studio? And are there tours of the studio?
Yes, there are tours. The reason I went to Petersburg is really simple. They gave me the land. And I'm not sure it was the right place and the right thing to do, but at that time, you know, when you say you're going to build a studio from the ground up, that was a soybean field on a former Civil War battlefield. And when you say you're going to build something from the ground up, you know, you boldly say it, but I didn't have a whole lot of money. So when someone offered me the land, especially that much, 60, 70 acres, I took it. I am now realizing that that's not quite the location because it's a 75% black community, Petersburg. And there's still in the South that thing about you don't want to go down there. So when people come to shoot in Virginia and we try to get them out of our studios, we've had people tell them, don't go down there, that's crack alley. You don't want to be at that studio, you know. So you fight perception. If I had to do it again, I probably wouldn't build it there. I don't know that I'd build one anyway, I'd probably take over building. Reginald Lewis said it better than anybody. He says when black people go in business, we always start from the ground up. He said other folks, they acquire and don't spend 2 to 3 years learning things that you didn't anticipate by building something ground up. If I started out now, I'd probably buy an existing business or existing studio and start from there. If you're going to do a studio, buy one. Believe me, there are a lot of them available. Or get the city to buy it for. Yes, sir.
How do filmmakers help you in your vision? How can we help you?
Come and when you get $1, or you get 10, or you get 1,000, or you get, I don't care what it costs to make a movie. Now, I'm not interested in the cost of movies. I'm interested in making movies. We made movies for, like I said, 100,000. This was 5. I've made them for $1.5 million, 3. I did a TV pilot for $3.5 million. It's really not the money. So when a young filmmaker wants to make a movie, I think what's probably hurt me, I won't say been surprised, what's hurt me more than anything else, in 5.5 years, only 5% of my business has come from black folk. Now, you know, all the young black filmmakers and film producers, I've had them come and shoot within 5 miles of my studio and not come and spend any money there. So I don't have time for player hating. So if a young filmmaker wants to help me, come spend some money at my place, just like you would anywhere else. Come, I can help you. You know, that helicopter shot you saw in that? That's a low-budget movie. You see helicopter shots. Well, give me a helicopter. You want me to stay in Virginia? You better send a helicopter down here with a camera mount, and it shows up. So I can do that for you too. Instead of running around with, you know, a camera on a mop pole, I can get you a helicopter. I can get you a crane. I can get you, you know, everything you need to make a movie and take the value of your movie to the level that you need to take it to compete in the marketplace. We're making a lot of horrible movies, young folks. You guys are making some garbage. This ain't the greatest movie in the world, by the way. I'm the first to admit that. But what I try to do, forget about the subject matter and the subjectiveness of the movie. But what I am impeccable about is the mechanics that go into filmmaking. Although we shot that in 14 days, I'll put it up against any movie when it comes to the technique and mechanics and the lighting. We take time. The actresses are in makeup. They had trailers. We had food for our crew, hot coffee, all those things that make a crew work harder for you than they normally would. We have. I know how to do that. I learned that in Hollywood for the 25 years I was out there. So that's what I give to young filmmakers. You want to help me, let's help each other. I'll make your film better, and I'll be able to, if you come and work and spend a little money, I may be able to pay payroll that month. Any other questions? Let me see this gentleman. It'll be out February 11th. And again, that's why emails. You've heard the movie out now, Guns, the Roger Moore movie. That's what is it called? Something Bowling for Columbine. That movie is solely been promoted by email. This guy's got an email database of 100,000. He sends out emails every day, and those emails have been duplicated and have become what we would call a good virus. I hate to use the word virus for computer people, but it's a good virus. And that email that you received has been out for 2 years. And it has been around and around. Hundreds of thousands of people have received that email. Well, that's what you got to do for filmmakers. We've got to help each other. That's how you help me. Email somebody, tell them about the movie, send them to our webpage. They'll see where we're playing. If you know somebody in Atlanta, go to our webpage. Oh, it'll be down there. Go see that movie. Word of mouth. That's how it was always done. That's how Miramax started. That's how Paramount started, believe it or or not. Word of mouth is still, for those of you in marketing and advertising, they'll tell you the best form of advertising left on this planet is word of mouth, branding. And that's what you have to do as a filmmaker. There's just so many of you running around with DV cameras making movies. Oh, it was and my wife is saying we have music for $5. A sampler from the movie soundtrack. Come down and buy one so we can make a $5 movie.
Reid, brother, the question I have is that, you know, like you were saying, there's a lot of poor movies being made. What do you see the light of African American movies being received, more positive movies being made, and what is the support rate of a black movie actually making it in Hollywood?
The actual fact of a black movie making it is very high. This movie will make money, and it'll make money regardless of whether you may think it's good. It's going to make money because there's just not that much content out there in this genre. I mean, most of the content, if you're not 18 and drooling on yourself, you won't really understand the movie. I mean, most of the movies are the same theme. They just change the rappers. Somebody gets shot, somebody snorts some cocaine, they use the F word a few times, and the movie's over. And they dance and sing. I mean, the theme for urban movies is horrible. What I challenge filmmakers to do is to get more involved in the cultural differences that we have. I don't mean, my next movie is actually going to be a gangster movie. I'm going to make an adult gangster movie. But like Cagney days, I'm going back to the film noir. It's going to be moody, it's going to be all those things. That doesn't have to mean that every movie has to be starring the Reverend so-and-so. It just means that we need to give a broader base. And right now I don't see that. Hollywood is only interested in what worked last week. So, if you want to make a lot of money, be ready with the next barbershop. Be ready with whatever it is. Get it out there. They make 500 and something movies a year. Of them, only 12 to 13 are black. But as we define black films, are 4 of the major parts owned or controlled by blacks. The director, the producer, people who put up the financing and that kind of thing. I made 1 of 12 movies that year I made that in all of Hollywood. Now we're not talking about starring a black star, or you say, well, Denzel movie or Halle Berry's movie. Halle Berry there were only 2 elements. The exec producer was black, and yes, he correct. And Halle Berry from
Cleveland.
Dayton, Ohio.
Dayton.
Well, can a gangster movie, like you said, you want to make a gangster movie, can it be made in good taste?
I hope so. If not, please tell me about it. But again, when I say gangster movie, I'm not talking about, it won't have anything to do with drugs. It may not even be a gunshot fire. It's going to be in the old days. It's going to be actually, I call them urban noir films. We're getting ready to make. I'm going to remake. I've chosen 3 Oscar Michaud movies to update and remake, and one of them is called 10 Minutes to Live. That's the one I'm going to do next. It's a gangster movie. Any more? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got this lady. She had a. I'm sorry.
Talk about your vision in terms of the economics of filmmaking, the quality, the image in the black community, and your distribution channels. Are you also looking to, at some point, expand around the globe, or are you focusing primarily in the North American region?
No, we all of our films. Asunder actually showed in Europe before it showed in America. It's been in the theaters. It ran in London for a while. I actually pre-sold. They tell you black films don't sell foreign, but I pre-sold Asunder. I got $950,000 for Asunder before I made the film, and it was in Europe. It was in Europe for a whole year before I showed it anywhere in America. This movie I have not taken foreign yet, but I have sold. When we were colored, I sold foreign. Stern Kinekor in South Africa. There was a movie with Academy Award woman, what's her name, dear? Who was in our movie? About Sarah. I had it in my opening credits. That was a movie I sold foreign. It's the key to selling foreign to any filmmaker is not so much whether it's black or white, is that the buyers want to know that you're going to be back, that you have some consistency. There's no business financial success in just one film. If you make just one film and try to go out there, you're going to get hurt because they're not going to pay you right away because they're going to wait for you to go out of business because they know if they hold the money back, the investor's going to come beat you up. So they don't pay you. And you go out of business, they don't have to pay you. So you got to have a consistency. It's like any other business, guys. You all know that. It's nothing. There is no real. We put the mystique, the perception, the show, and the glamour, and the da 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 da. But when you go behind the camera, it is a hard, difficult business. It's not fair. Never have been for anyone, white or black. Never will be. But you got to stick and stay. And it's twice as difficult for a black filmmaker. But you got to decide what you want to do. If you want to be independent or go in the system. The easiest, the safest is to go in the system. Do what Spike Lee does. Do what all the other black filmmakers do. Go in, get a studio deal. You will never own your title. Spike does not own any of his titles. You know, she got to have it, but she don't own it. You know, get on the bus. We don't own the bus. But there's nothing wrong with that. He's making a lot of money, and he's got a successful company. But you make those decisions. I'm not making that kind of money, but what I'm trying to build is something that I can leave behind as somebody's got to build a system, or it's never going to work. Build it right.
Still shooting.
I'd like to see more of your stuff in the future. And also the content of the film, I think was very important. It was positive, as well as funny, as well as humorous. And I think it should do well.
Thank you. Well, when it comes out, we're going to launch it in April on our own label, Millennium Releasing. So look for it and buy it. And I figure it could probably do around, for me to be profitable, I got to do about 150,000 units to make any money and pay my investors and do that. And I can do 150,000 units standing on my head if folks will get behind it and spread the word.
You talk about filmmakers. What about screenwriters and producers? What type of opportunities are there for those type of, as far as being African American?
Better than they've ever been. You look at the two films, the one that Cuba Gooding did about the diver. You look at the film, The Titans, both black film writers. Black film writing and producing in the system is better. Monsters Ball, black executive producer. Producer rather. He did something that was not mainstream, really not a black picture. The system is actually taking in more than it's ever taken in. There's certainly, on the acting side, I see more. When I started was doing WKRP, I mean, if all the actors got together who were in primetime television, there'd be about 5 of us in a Volkswagen. And of course, Jimmy Walker saying dynamite. So there weren't that many. Now, I hold an audition. I don't know, starting out as an actor now, I probably wouldn't do it. I'd stay in the business world because it's just too much competition. I mean, and good competition. My daughter goes out to Reid. There are 50 people in her category who all have acting experience. When I went out to Reid, I was going up against Moses Gunn and Antonio Fargas and Billy D. Williams, and it was like everybody black would come read for the same part. 19 years old cab driver, and there's Billy D. Williams. So now it's different. It's a very difficult business in terms of everybody wants to be in show business, but nobody wants to pay the price. Yeah, well, 2 more and then we got to go. Gentlemen, then give me a lady somewhere.
Yeah, I'm wondering, with the kind of commitment you've made, and Danny Glover has done some of that with movies like Sleep with Anger. My question is, has there been any thought to maybe 4 or a half dozen of you doing what they formed the United Artists back in the 30s, by some artists coming together in pooling? Has there been any, or could we benefit from?
Y'all know the answer to that, don't you?
Yes.
All right. Next question. Lady, back here. Yeah. You know the answer to that question, brother. It ain't changed.
Okay.
It really hasn't. I mean, just because they got $20 million a picture don't mean there ain't no player hating. Uh-huh.
I'm a big fan. I wanted to know whether or not, why don't we see more films like that that reflect, what is it about our community that we don't embrace, in your opinion, those kinds of films, like this kind of film? Why does
I think you answered the last part. What is it about us as a community that we don't demand? As long as we go in droves to see Hollywood's version of us, they will continue to make that. And the power is in your hands. I mean, I know we hate to hear that because that means responsibility, but you are creating the monster that you hate by going after those pictures. If enough of you say when you go buy a ticket and you walk out of the theater, you say, that movie sucks, I'm never coming here again if you keep showing that kind of garbage. Sooner or later, somebody will get the idea. But that's not gonna happen. Sorry to say, there's gotta be another way. And I think the only way to do it is that those of us who are and I'm not the only one, there are quite a few of us who believe in trying to tell the story of Black America in our own way, in our own vision, good or bad. And more of us have to do that. So I look to the young filmmakers to try not to get trapped in the drive to be the next discovery in Hollywood. Don't mean you gotta go independent. You can go in the system and still make a statement, but you're gonna have to work harder and you're gonna have to stay true to yourselves. And I don't see that happening because everybody's all about the money. It's all about the bling bling, and that's what everybody's going for. I guess that's about it. I want to thank you and thank the Deltas.
It's been a great evening. Thank you all for coming. And with the Arts and Letters Committee, please come to the front for a photo. Thank you. All the